What if your dreams could predict the future? What if the strange, jumbled stories your mind creates each night were not just memories or anxieties, but glimpses of tomorrow? In the early 1900s, one man believed this wasn't just a fantasy. He believed he had proof, and he wasn't a mystic or a fortune teller. He was an aeronautical engineer, a man of logic and science, who stumbled upon a mystery that science itself struggled to explain. His name was J.W. Dunne, and this is the story of his experiment with time. Our story begins in Edwardian England, a world of steam, steel, and burgeoning modernity. John William Dunne was a brilliant mind, designing some of Britain's first military aircraft. His life was governed by physics, mathematics, and the strict laws of cause and effect. But at night, in the privacy of his own mind, those laws began to bend. One night, Dunne had an unusually vivid dream. He dreamt he was on an island, near a volcano that was about to erupt. He could feel the ground tremble. He saw the plume of smoke and ash billowing into the sky. He even noted specific details, like the number of people who were in danger. It felt so real. He jotted it down upon waking. A few days later, he picked up the newspaper. Chills ran down his spine. The headline described a catastrophic volcanic eruption on the island of Martinique. Mount Pelée had exploded, killing thousands. The details in the article mirrored his dream with unnerving accuracy. A startling coincidence, he thought. A one-off anomaly. But then, it happened again. He dreamt of a train derailing in Scotland. The next day, the Flying Scotsman Express train crashed just as he dreamt it. Then another dream. A factory fire in a city he'd never visited. The next morning, the news confirmed it. These weren't vague premonitions. They were specific, detailed, and verifiable. It was as if he was reading tomorrow's newspaper in his sleep. For a man of science like Dunne, coincidence was no longer a satisfying answer. He knew he had to investigate. Dunne decided to turn his personal experience into a formal experiment, with himself as the primary subject. He developed a rigorous method. Every single morning, the moment he woke up, before his mind could fully engage with the present day, he would grab a notebook and pen from his bedside table. He wrote down everything he could remember from his dreams, no matter how trivial or bizarre. He filled notebook after notebook with these fleeting images and narratives. Then he began the second phase: comparison. He would meticulously review his daily newspaper and keep a diary of his own life, constantly cross-referencing these real-world events with his dream logs from the nights before. Slowly but surely, a pattern emerged that defied all conventional logic. He found that while many of his dreams were, as expected, jumbled replays of past experiences and daily worries, a significant number were not. They contained clear, specific details of events that had not yet occurred. He dreamt of conversations he would have later that day, of newspaper headlines he would read the next morning, of minor personal accidents and major world events. The dreams weren't always dramatic. Sometimes it was as simple as dreaming of a particular book falling open to a specific page, only to have it happen by chance a day later. This led him to a radical hypothesis he called serialism, or serial time. Dunne theorized that our conscious, waking self experiences time in a straight line, from past to present to future. It's a linear, one-way street. But our subconscious mind, the part of us that dreams, is not bound by this limitation. He proposed that in the dream state, our perception can move more freely, drifting both backward and forward along the timeline. Our consciousness is like a single spotlight moving along a film strip, but our dreaming self can see frames that are further ahead. It was a mind-bending idea, suggesting that past, present, and future might coexist, and that we have the innate ability to access them. In 1927, after years of meticulous self-documentation, J.W. Dunne published his findings in a book titled An Experiment with Time. The book was an instant sensation. It landed on the fertile ground of a post-war society grappling with new ideas in physics, psychology, and the very nature of reality. It captivated the public imagination and became a bestseller. The literary world was particularly fascinated. Great writers like Aldous Huxley, T.S. Eliot, and J.B. Priestley were deeply influenced by Dunne's theory of serial time. You can see echoes of his ideas woven into their famous works, exploring themes of destiny, memory, and the fluid nature of time. Priestley even wrote a series of time plays directly inspired by Dunne's book. However, the scientific community was sharply divided. Dunne was an engineer, an outsider to the worlds of physics and psychology, and his methods were unorthodox. Many scientists dismissed his work as purely anecdotal. They argued his results could be explained by confirmation bias, the tendency to remember the hits and forget the misses, or by the simple fact that our brains are excellent at finding patterns, even where none exist. They called it imaginative, but not scientific. Yet others were intrigued. Dunne's theory, while unconventional, touched upon deep questions being asked by quantum physics about the observer's effect on reality and the nonlinear nature of time at a subatomic level. And the phenomenon he described, precognitive dreaming, refused to go away. Even today, decades later, parapsychological studies at various universities occasionally produce statistically significant, though controversial, results suggesting that some individuals can dream of future events at a rate higher than pure chance. Was Dunne a brilliant visionary, a man who saw the true nature of time decades ahead of everyone else? Or was he simply a man lost in the labyrinth of his own fascinating, but ultimately unproven, imagination? The debate he started continues to this day. J.W. Dunne passed away in 1949, remaining steadfast in his conviction that he had uncovered a fundamental truth about consciousness and time. He left behind his notebooks, a legacy of carefully recorded dreams that seemed to defy the arrow of time. Today, his work stands as a curious footnote in the history of science, a tantalizing, what if? Perhaps he was mistaken. Perhaps it was all just a series of incredible coincidences, interpreted by a brilliant and imaginative mind. Or perhaps he was right. Perhaps we all possess this ability. Maybe every night, as we drift off to sleep, our minds wander into the future, catching glimpses of what's to come. But in the morning light, those fleeting visions dissolve like mist, and we simply forget to write them down. What do you think? Have you ever had a dream that came true? Thank you so much for joining us on this journey through time and dreams. If you enjoyed this exploration, please hit that like button and subscribe for more stories that challenge the world as we know it. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. See you next time.